Brilliance Audio presents Nell by Nancy Thayer, performed by Sarah Zimmerman. Philip was an insurance executive who was apparently doing his best to live his life out of some handbook on appropriate executive behavior. He was handsome and well-dressed, and Nell didn't think he was stupid, but how would she ever know? For Philip was cold, aloof, secretive, a real tight-ass, a stiff, brittle stick of a man. At one dinner party, in which all the people gathered around the table were parents or parents-to-be, the subject had been circumcision, whether or not to circumcise baby boys. Philip had said in his I-am-making-a-pronouncement voice, "Circumcision is just another way for doctors to make money. Personally, I've always thought it was a rip-off." And he never did understand why the rest of the table went into waves of groans and laughter. Well, Nell couldn't have Ilona to her party without Philip, so he would be coming too, the old bore. Stelios would not be coming. Stelios was Nell's lover now, but he was younger than Nell and less educated, and he worked for the city road crew. He had told her that he would not feel comfortable with this group. Nell often wondered on days like this, or nights when she was alone at a party without an escort, what on earth she was doing going with a man like Stelios. He was really not her type. Then she'd spend a night with him and remember quite clearly and intensely just why it was she was going with him. People knew she was going with Stelios, and they asked about him when they saw her, and she always said he was fine, and they moved on to another topic. Some of her friends had met Stelios. Katie Anderson had. Katie had dropped in one evening when Nell and Stelios were drinking beer and watching a football game on TV. Katie had joined them for a while. When she had to leave, Nell had walked Katie to the door, and they had stood in the back hall laughing in whispers like schoolgirls. "Hubba bubba," Katie had said. "Boy, do I envy you." "Well, he is cute," Nell had said. "But, Katie, I envy you." She did envy Katie Anderson very much. She envied Katie especially for her husband, who loved her completely and who paid the mortgage and the bills without blinking an eye. More than anything else in the world, Nell wanted for herself the plain old traditional joys: a loving husband, a solvent bank account, a peaceful life. But she didn't have that and couldn't, so she went back up the stairs and changed out of her old gray robe and into grubby jeans and an old flannel shirt. She went to the bathroom. Her diuretic was working, thank heavens. She had Hannah send the 4 little kids back to their own homes, and she told Hannah to change into jeans. As the little kids went out the front door, Jeremy came in. Nell marshaled Hannah and Jeremy into the kitchen. She would give them lunch, then force them to help her clean the basement. Her desires, she knew, would quickly diminish once they all went down into the damp, dim underworld of their house. She would wish not for a husband or wealth, but only and entirely that they would not find any little furry body, living or dead, mingled with the children's litter. Nell put a plate with 2 peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and a banana and a pile of cookies in front of her son. Jeremy had Nell's reddish-brown hair and eyes, her pale, freckled skin, and he also had her lean body, which on his 10-year-old frame looked gawky, scrawny, and almost painfully thin. He was all knees and elbows and energy. "How is soccer, Jeremy?" she asked. "Fine," Jeremy said. He took a bite of his sandwich, then grinned at his mother. "Hey, Mom," he said, "what's hard and red when you put it in and it comes out soft and pink and wet?" "Jeremy," Nell said aghast, dropping the butter knife on her foot. "May I remind you," she said sternly, "that your sister is only 8 years old?" Hannah laughed at Nell. "I can guess that joke, Mom," she said. "Duh, bubblegum."